Channel. Today we'll be installing these diffuser fins from Extreme Online Store. They were $250. They come in a couple of options, flat black, carbon flash metallic, and carbon fiber. Not a fan of carbon fiber, so I went with the carbon flash metallic, which is already the same color that's on the bumper of the car, and so that's the one I went with. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of how much horsepower does that add comments, but I didn't do it for performance. I didn't do it for anything like that. I did it for the looks only. I wanted a more aggressive look, and the diffusers that I looked at online, and it ranged anywhere from $800 up to several $1,000s. Just wasn't for me, so I went with a cheaper route. I wanted a more aggressive look, and this achieves that. So when I did receive these and unbox them, they did have some light scratches in the paint, just from shipping. Now, I don't like that, so I shipped these off to BRS Auto Works, where they paint corrected these. They added the orange vinyl strip for me, which is a common theme on my car. I have it all throughout on the carbon flash metallic pieces. They were able to add that, and then they ceramic coated it for me. So again, thank you, and shout out to BRS Auto Works for that. Another thing too that I recommend doing is pre-fitting. It does come with these small screws here. You're going to want to pre-fit them all. That's a very tight space back there where we have to do this, where these mount to. So you don't want to be struggling with that. So I'd highly recommend that you pre-fit them that way. And another thing that didn't make sense to me is the same bolts for everything. There's on each piece, there's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 more down here. These attached to the tray underneath. The ones that attach to the tray underneath don't make sense because there's nothing to bolt to. There's no self-tapping screw or anything like that. So I went out and I got the same type of screw, but it's a little bit longer, and I got the the nuts, the locker nuts to go with it, and they are longer. So when you have to pre-drill that tray, they're longer, so it sticks through, and I'm able to bolt them and fasten them. You can do that, or you can get self-tapping screws. It's up to you, but I went with the bolts and nuts. So there's that. So one thing I do want to mention as well is where you have to work is very tight quarters. This will mount to the mesh where the exhaust, you can see the exhaust. Now I have an aftermarket AWE track exhaust, so I already checked. I have enough room to reach up underneath there and put the screws in. For those that have stock exhaust, even the Z51, and not sure, I can't remember off the top of my head. If you're going to have room, if you don't have room, then you are going to have to take the bumper off, which I don't want to do. It's a pain, and so it's up to you how you want to do it. Now, one thing you got to remember is there's driver side, passenger side. I already went through and marked where these need to go for you. I have all the measurements, and I will give that to you in this video. If you want to know how I did that, it's not rocket science. I kind of just took these pieces down and moved them to where this was flush. This piece here was flush on the tray. Little to no gap on the bumper here, and made sure this was flush as well. You kind of got to just move them around and play with it. I did put some masking tape on these so I wouldn't scratch it. In doing that, I recommend if you want to do that for yourself, you can, but I'm going to provide the measurements here in a second, and then we'll start the install. To install, you're going to need a couple tools. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and if you decide to go with the bolts, nuts and bolts I have here, it's a 7mm socket, and I have this wee little small little wrench here that should give me enough room back there to tighten things up. I don't think there'll be a problem. You're going to want a measuring tape if you want to kind of figure out where you need to go yourself, and you'll need a Sharpie if you're going to figure it out on your own. and whatnot. So I'll go ahead and start showing you how I mark this, and we'll go from there. Okay, for those that don't want to figure out where these pieces go themselves, this is some of the measurements, and I put a mark here, which marks the center line, and then from the center line to the passenger side to the next mark is 5.5 or 5.25 inches here, and then it's 9 inches from there. So those are the areas that will give you the best fit, and it's the same on both sides. So it's 5.25 from here, and then 9 inches from here to there, both sides. I marked it with a little Sharpie. If you don't have that opportunity to do that, you can just use tape to mark where they need to go. Now, if you wanted to see how I did it, how I came to this, I'm going to show you that in 1 second here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I figured this out. So what I did was, again, I marked the center line, and you just grab a piece here, and you just kind of got to carefully line it up. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that there's no gap between the bumper and this, and that it sits flush with the tray underneath. So I already pre-marked this, so I kind of already know where it goes. And I don't know if you can see it if the camera picks it up, but it is pretty spot on where it needs to go. There's no gap, and it's nice and flush underneath here. So once you get that marked, like I put a little Sharpie marker on here. Again, if you don't have a Sharpie, you can use tape to mark it, and that's how I kind of figured it out. And then once I did this piece and this piece, took the measurements so they match on both sides, measured them out so that it should be symmetrical. Hopefully it doesn't appear to be off. And one thing I do want to call out, there is a additional screw here, which I'm choosing not to do. I don't feel like drilling into the body for these. If I don't like them later and I want to remove them, I'll have holes there, but it's up to you. You screw them into the pre-drill and stick them in there. If it becomes a problem, I might just try with some double-sided sticky tape, but I don't think it'll be a problem. It should hold pretty sturdy. And now we're going to go ahead and start installing these, and go from there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with putting these in. I'm going to start on the passenger side here. I'm just going to line this up to where this is supposed to go. Now, the hard part is trying to get these little bolts in. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so we got them installed. Not too bad looking. Definitely struggled to get those fins set up properly. Not a lot of room to work. Hopefully those with the stock exhaust won't have any issues. I know, I have pretty big hands and I struggle to get back there. You also saw me lift the car up. That helped me a lot to get a better view of the mesh, how it lines up with the holes on the fins. It wasn't easy, but it's done. It looks pretty good. I'm very happy with it. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. And we'll be doing more installation stuff as I get the parts in. So thank you very much.